Fitted with a sharp nose cone and a massive rear wing, the Dodge Charger Daytona remains one of the most recognizable and radical muscle cars ever built. It's a car that turned heads on the street and dominated the high banks of NASCAR tracks, cementing its legacy as one of the wildest creations of the muscle car era. But as extraordinary as the Daytona was, it didn't appear out of nowhere. It was born from a series of challenges and innovations that began several years earlier, when Dodge decided to take the Charger racing in NASCAR. Before the Daytona came to life, there was another special project, the Dodge Charger 500, a lesser-known but crucial stepping stone that shaped the brand's racing success. When the first-generation Dodge Charger debuted in 1966, it was clear that Dodge wanted more than just another muscle car for street use. The brand saw NASCAR as a proving ground, a stage where engineering met glory, and where victory translated directly into showroom sales. The Charger's sleek fastback design and powerful engines made it an appealing candidate for stock car racing, and Dodge wasted no time entering it into the NASCAR Cup Series. The car proved to be a strong competitor, securing 18 victories in its maiden season. However, despite these wins, the Charger was unable to capture the overall championship, as Ford's aerodynamic designs and consistency on the track gave it an edge. As the muscle car wars intensified, Dodge engineers and executives grew determined to refine their NASCAR contender. By 1968, Dodge had released the second-generation Charger R/T, a car that looked more aggressive, with its hidden headlights, recessed grille, and tunneled rear window giving it a distinctive fastback profile. But looks can be deceiving. What worked aesthetically didn't necessarily work aerodynamically. When Dodge fielded the 1968 Charger in competition, they quickly discovered that the car struggled on the high-speed oval tracks dominated by Ford's Torino-Talladega. Wind tunnel testing revealed that the Charger's deep-set grille created excessive drag, while the recessed rear window generated aerodynamic lift at high speeds. These two factors combined to make the car unstable at the top end, a serious handicap in NASCAR, where aerodynamic efficiency was becoming increasingly crucial. To solve the problem, Dodge engineers went back to the drawing board. They decided to smooth out the airflow by redesigning two critical areas of the car: the front fascia and the rear window. The tunneled rear glass was replaced with a flush-mounted rear window that followed the contour of the roofline more closely. Up front, the Charger's distinctive hidden headlight grille was swapped for the cleaner, more streamlined grille from the 1968 Coronet. These seemingly minor changes dramatically improved aerodynamics, reducing drag and lift. However, NASCAR's homologation rules required that a minimum number of modified cars be sold to the public before they could be raced competitively. This regulation ensured that NASCAR remained a stock car series, where race cars had genuine production counterparts. As a result, Dodge decided to produce a limited batch of these aerodynamic Chargers for the street. The improved model was introduced for the 1969 model year and was named the Charger 500, the name referencing the NASCAR 500 races, such as the Daytona 500 and Talladega 500, for which it was developed. A total of 392 units were built, making the Charger 500 one of the rarest Mopars ever produced. Despite its rarity, the Charger 500 was not simply a limited edition collectible. It was a true homologation car, designed for speed and competition. Every modification served a purpose, from its smoothed-out rear window to its new grille and carefully adjusted body lines. Under the hood, the Charger 500 came with a choice of serious power plants. The standard engine was the 440 cubic inch Magnum V8, capable of producing 375 horsepower. But for those seeking the ultimate performance, Dodge offered the legendary 426 HEMI, a 7.0-liter powerhouse producing 425 horsepower and massive torque figures that made it one of the most feared engines in racing. The HEMI was already a legend on the track and quickly became synonymous with Mopar dominance. However, the engine was expensive, and the Charger 500's high price tag meant that very few buyers opted for the HEMI version. Out of the 392 Charger 500s built, only 67 were fitted with the 426 HEMI engine. Of those, 40 came with the 3-speed TorqueFlite automatic transmission, while just 27 were equipped with the 4-speed manual gearbox, making the manual cars some of the rarest performance Dodges of all time. Despite its improved aerodynamics and the brute strength of the HEMI engine, the Charger 500 still couldn't fully overcome the Ford Torino Talladega's advantage. The Talladega had a sleeker, longer nose and a slightly better drag coefficient, which allowed Ford to maintain dominance in NASCAR's 1969 season. Dodge knew it needed to go even further if it wanted to reclaim its place at the top of the leaderboard. The result of that determination was the Dodge Charger Daytona, introduced later in 1969. The Daytona took everything learned from the Charger 500 and pushed it to the extreme, featuring a sharply pointed nose cone, retractable headlights, and a towering 23-inch rear wing that looked outrageous but was wind tunnel tested for maximum downforce. The Daytona became the first NASCAR car to break 200 miles per hour on a closed course, and it went on to achieve legendary status both on the track and in automotive history. In comparison, the Charger 500 may not have achieved the same fame or price tags as the Daytona, but it remains an essential part of Dodge's racing evolution. It is, in many ways, the missing link between the standard Charger R/T and the ultra-rare Daytona. The Charger 500 laid the groundwork for Dodge's aerodynamic experiments and proved that the company was willing to innovate for performance. It also holds a special place in the hearts of collectors today, particularly in HEMI form. Because of its limited production and connection to NASCAR's golden age, the Charger 500 HEMI is considered one of the most collectible Mopars of all time. The specific dark bronze metallic example mentioned here represents one of the finest surviving Charger 500s in existence. Finished in the elegant T5 dark bronze metallic shade, paired with a saddle interior, it exudes understated sophistication that contrasts sharply with the raw muscle under the hood. According to the 1969 Charger Registry, which records details of known surviving cars, only 5 of the 67 HEMI-powered Charger 500s were finished in this color. The registry doesn't specify how many of those 5 were equipped with 4-speed manuals and saddle interiors, meaning this particular combination could potentially make it a one-of-one car, a unique survivor among an already rare breed. What makes this Charger even more remarkable is its level of originality. It is described as a semi-survivor, a term often used by collectors to describe cars that retain most of their original factory components but have undergone limited restoration work. In this case, the car has been repainted once, but the body panels are all original, the interior has been carefully preserved for over half a century, and the drivetrain remains numbers matching, meaning it still carries its original factory-installed engine and transmission. For collectors, numbers-matching cars hold significant value because they provide a direct link to a car's history and authenticity, distinguishing them from restored examples that may have had parts replaced over time. This car's inclusion in Mecum's Kissimmee 2026 auction lineup adds another layer of excitement. Mecum's annual Florida event is one of the largest classic and collector car auctions in the world, attracting high-profile vehicles and passionate buyers. Seeing a genuine 1969 HEMI Charger 500 cross the block is a rare event, as many of these cars have been held in private collections for decades and seldom appear for public sale. The fact that this example hasn't changed hands publicly in recent years makes it even more desirable. Collectors appreciate cars with traceable histories and long-term ownership, as they often indicate careful preservation rather than heavy use or frequent trading. Valuing a car like this is not straightforward. While rarer than the Daytona, the Charger 500 tends to attract a slightly narrower audience because it lacks the outrageous aerodynamic features that make the Daytona instantly recognizable. However, among serious Mopar enthusiasts, a 426 HEMI Charger 500 ranks near the top of the desirability scale. With its combination of rarity, performance, and historical importance, it's reasonable to expect this example to command a 6-figure price tag, likely exceeding $200,000 at auction. Recent sales data supports this estimate. Only 5 Charger 500s are known to have sold for more than $200,000, and 2 of those surpassed the $250,000 mark. The current record holder, a pristine, low-mileage black example with a red tail stripe, sold for an astonishing $341,000 in 2023, setting a high bar for the model. While it's uncertain whether this dark bronze metallic car will set a new record, there's no doubt that it will fetch a premium price. Its combination of originality, color rarity, and the coveted 4-speed manual transmission makes it stand out even among the small group of surviving HEMI Charger 500s. In today's collector market, authenticity and provenance matter more than ever. A car that retains its original components, especially one tied to a defining era in American motorsport, will always attract attention from serious collectors and investors alike. The Charger 500 also represents a fascinating moment in automotive history, a period when NASCAR's homologation rules directly influenced car design. In the late 1960s, manufacturers were locked in a technological arms race, constantly seeking aerodynamic and mechanical advantages. The Charger 500 and its successor, the Daytona, were among the first production cars to benefit from extensive wind tunnel testing, a practice that would become standard in racing and eventually influence mainstream vehicle design. These cars weren't just about brute force. They were about harnessing science to make speed more efficient. The Charger 500 marked Dodge's first major step into that new era. Even decades later, the Charger 500 continues to captivate enthusiasts because it embodies the spirit of innovation and competition that defined the golden age of American muscle. Each detail tells part of a larger story. The engineering decisions made to shave fractions of a second off lap times, the compromises required to meet NASCAR's production rules, and the craftsmanship that went into every limited edition car. To own a Charger 500 today is to hold a piece of that history, a tangible connection to a time when manufacturers were willing to build outrageous cars simply to win on Sunday and sell on Monday. In summary, the 1969 Dodge Charger 500 may live in the shadow of the legendary Daytona, but it deserves equal respect. Without the 500, the Daytona would never have existed. It bridged the gap between form and function, between style and speed, and between road car and race car. The limited production run, the powerful HEMI engine, and the dedication to aerodynamic excellence make it one of the most significant American performance cars ever created. Whether seen roaring down a racetrack in its prime or glistening under the auction lights decades later, the Charger 500 stands as a testament to Dodge's relentless pursuit of performance and innovation. And for the dark bronze metallic HEMI Charger 500 heading to Mecum's Kissimmee 2026 auction, its story is more than just numbers or horsepower. It's a story of craftsmanship, legacy, and the enduring power of American muscle.